This is Tony Hawk, a legend in the skateboarding industry and a man responsible for one of the most successful franchises in video game history. I first met Tony during our shoot at E3 with our host Allison Hayslip. After geeking out and telling him what a big fan I was of him and his Pro Skater franchise, he invited me out to his headquarters near San Diego, California, where we discussed gaming and all things Tony Hawk. Tony, hey.
Hey.
What's up, man?
How are you?
Good to meet you.
It's you, right on.
Thanks for having us here.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for coming.
So this is your domain here, huh?
This is my office where I pretend to do work. But okay. My real work is actually done on a skateboard out in the back. But this is just kind of my collection of random stuff through the years. A few awards, a lot of pictures, some collector's items, skateboards. Like this one's signed by the Clash.
Oh, nice. Nice.
And then some of my first models and one-offs like snowboards, stuff like that.
Well, I'm interested in that, but I can't stop looking at.
Well, yeah, we always got this ready for anyone coming to visit. So
show me what's new here, man. Is this a working copy?
Yeah, this is it. This is our newest game, which is basically a continuation from THPS 1 through 4.
Okay.
You know, more like the 2-minute challenges and characters and the levels, but there's a whole new online element. So you can create parks and share them and invite up to 20 people to come ride it from across the world. So that's something we never got to explore since the technology just wasn't there.
Yeah, before. 4 was still very much a single player.
4 was still on PS2.
Yeah.
So
in a minute.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Oh wow! Right off the graphic.
Yeah.
Is there a new graphical style? It looks almost like
a little bit, yeah.
Cell shaded anime kind of. Nice.
So this is my son Riley.
Oh, this is Riley. Okay,
yeah.
Cool.
And this is a famous skate spot called the Barracks. Oh, there you go. I don't do that to my son in real life. Let that be known, okay?
Child
that
abuse.
wasn't intentional. This is a famous skate park in LA that's like a private facility called the Barracks.
Nice.
So it's pretty cool that we're giving people, because it is very private, we're giving people an opportunity to actually skate it.
How does it feel to see your son, not just in a video game, but in your video game?
It's pretty cool. Well, it's pretty, you know what's cool for me is the fact that he agreed to do it.
Really?
Because the request came from more the fans than me. I knew that he has an aversion to anything that I'm really involved with because he's trying to make his own way. And when I asked him, he said yes. So I was pretty excited.
And he didn't ask for the title to be changed.
Yeah, Riley Hawk Pro Skater. Well, maybe if I actually do quit skating, that'll be his time.
Yeah,
but I'm still here, still doing it.
This brings back so many memories. I mean, I literally haven't played Pro Skater since Alcatraz. Was that 4 or 3? Skating Alcatraz. Oh, nice.
I think that was 4.
What is this? Is this something where
he's in special mode right now?
Special mode, okay.
Yeah. So you can actually on this game you can turn on and off special mode.
The animation of special mode is a lot cooler.
Yeah. Yes.
Awesome.
Riley, good job.
So other than the online component and Riley being in it, this is a continuation of from 4.
Yeah, well, we're in free skate mode right now, but there'll be 2-minute challenges and collect the combo, the letters skate, high scores, things like that.
Cool. Can I try it?
Yeah, go for it.
I want to see if I've retained any bit of my Pro Skater knowledge. It's not looking good for me so far. Okay, so going.
I'm a fan of the D-pad, to be honest.
Is this okay? This is how we get momentum. Yeah, and then ollie.
X to ollie. There you go. And then if you want to grind, triangle.
Grind is triangle. Okay.
Flip tricks are square, and grab tricks are circle. You gotta be in the air.
Okay, I'm gonna get a grind on here.
There you go. Look at you ripping around the Barracks already.
I played a lot of. I was never injured, but to stave off boredom, I think Pro Skater was one of my go-tos.
Oh, good.
It doesn't look like you'd think I would remember more. So how many areas, how many levels are?
Well, it comes with, I believe, 6 initially, and obviously you can get more, you can download more, but the whole idea is you can create your own.
Oh yeah, that's like a thing. Like we talked to Nintendo and saw their Mario Maker, where you can make your own Mario world.
Yeah, and it's not the first time we've done it, but it's definitely much more involved. It's a deeper experience now to be able to create a park and share it online.
For sure. Yeah, that's like we're really abusing Riley here between the two of us.
I'll call him and apologize to him later. It'll be all right.
Cool, man. So there's more to see. Let's show me what else you got here.
Yeah, sure.
In the Tony Hawk HQ. What in the world is this? Where are we?
Well, this is my private ramp at my office, and to be honest, I bought this office space so that I would have a place to put this ramp.
Wow.
Because we had this ramp only used on tours through the years, so only it was set up in different cities during the summertime, and it really is still the best ramp around. So I wanted to have a place to use it on all the other months, and all the businesses kind of fell into place here. So we do all the licensing, we do our foundation, we do video production, and events and everything here.
I'm amazed that this thing can move. It looks like a freaking monument.
This thing is like the most advanced Lego set you've ever seen. So we can put this entire ramp up in about 3 hours.
Wow.
Sometimes 2.
Wow.
And it'll come down in less time.
I mean, when I first walked in here, I walked in the door behind us there, and I got met with this massive ramp. When we pulled up in the parking lot, I wouldn't have imagined.
Yeah, it was built by a staging company that does concert tour stages for giant, AC/DC, Lady Gaga, stuff like that. Wow. And so they know what it takes to make something that goes up and down very quickly.
Active, and you guys use it, obviously.
It's still, I mean, it's now, let's see, it's 12 years old. Wow. It's still the same surface. It's still flawless.
Yeah, it looks amazing. Can you kind of give me the origin story of Pro Skater? Like, were you approached, or was it your idea and you went to Activision? Like, what's kind of the origin story of the game?
Well, in the early, let's see, the story of my involvement with video games was that I was approached by a PC developer that wanted to create a skating game. And he wanted my sort of endorsement to go take pitch meetings, to go pitch to different developers. So we went, and he and I went to a few different publishers. We went to a few different console manufacturers.
This was in the 90s.
This was like 96-ish. And just basically got shut down everywhere we went. In fact, one was like really embarrassing. We were just like, why would anyone, like, skateboarding's not even popular. Why would anyone want to play a video game based on skateboarding? So
your brand as Tony Hawk wasn't what it was now then.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't even consider myself a brand then. I considered more of myself just a pro skater that was in the X Games. That's pretty much all they knew about me in terms of my success. And so he gave up, he was over it, but my name had sort of been embedded into the video game industry where, this guy, Tony Hawk, wants to do a game.
This is the video game skater guy.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. And so I got approached by Take-Two, which is now Rockstar. They wanted to do a game. I liked their idea, but it just seemed a little more, their idea was very much like based on the difficulty of skating. And I was like, I don't want it to be as hard as skateboarding. I want it to be something that you can emulate skateboarding, but make it more fun. So I was talking to them for a little bit. Activision called me and said, hey, we heard you might be doing a video game. Please come see what we're working on. And I went up and saw what they had developed, and they just basically had an engine with some crude tricks and basically this dystopian wasteland that they were skating because they had just done, Neversoft had just done Apocalypse with Bruce Willis.
Yeah.
So the first time I ever played what is now THPS was with Bruce Willis with a gun on his back, ollieing and doing tricks in this like deserted wasteland.
Nice.
But I could
bring
tell.
That back, by the way.
What's that?
They need to make that like an add-on.
They should. There's actually like there's a secret room in one of the levels above the mall where you can see all these unused boxes of Apocalypse.
Nice.
Like they're
unshipped.
What's that? Unshipped, yeah.
Yeah.
Their inventory. But anyway, when I saw what they were working on, I just knew, instinctively I could tell, like, this is fun immediately. It's intuitive. The control scheme is pretty straightforward in terms of how a skateboard would work.
Sure.
And I told them, I thought with my experience, with my resources and expertise, we can make this something that'd be really fun for skateboarders to play. That was my only goal with the game. So I pretty much signed up right away.
And was that version of it, did it, like, what level from like 0 to 100% of authentic skate moves were in that prototype version?
We thought we had covered most of the basics of skating, and anything that was more difficult was more of a combo that you could create in the game.
Okay.
And that's kind of where it went into more arcade feel and Fantasyland, because all of a sudden there were these combinations being done that people were like, you can't do that in real life. I'm like, exactly.
It's a video game.
That's why it's fun.
Yeah.
Nor can you grind the high lines of, the city.
Yeah.
But
or Alcatraz,
we want, or skate Alcatraz, sure. And
yeah.
the funny thing is that a lot of kids grew up playing that game, and some of them were inspired to start skating. And now the generation of skaters, they're doing these combinations that we thought were only possible in video games. I mean, if you really look at a pro, a state-of-the-art skate video or a competition, the combinations these guys are doing are stuff that we didn't think were possible.
Didn't even conceive it in real life. Wow. That's interesting too. We were kind of talking about that on the way up here, of sort of skater or skate culture and gamer culture and the parallels. Do you see, or have you ever seen the connection between, I guess, I don't even know what it would, 80s, late 70s, skaters or skate culture was seen as kind of counterculture, rebellious, and gaming has kind of had that stigma too of like, well, it's all time wasters, or it's all leads to violence. But skating became accepted and is now a sport and very much not seen as countercultural. And gaming is kind of, have you seen the connection of those two cultures?
I think so, yeah. And I think I saw them also go through the sort of the cycles of popularity and evolution as well. I mean, skating went from being this sort of just a way to surf the sidewalk when the waves were flat, to becoming more of a counterculture movement, and then hitting some popularity in the 80s, just like video games, with arcade games. And then in the 90s, more of it was like, in skateboarding it became less popular, but there was a revolution going on of how to skate and where you could skate. And suddenly the urban landscape became a skate park, because there were no skate parks to speak of.
Yeah.
And so kids just went and made stuff work, made the handrails work, the ledges, the banks and stuff like that. I don't think that video games went so underground, say, in the early 90s, but definitely there was a revolution happening with home systems, and eventually online play. So yeah, you could see a lot of parallels in skateboarding and video games for sure. And now, the skateboard industry is solid. Video game industry is bigger than the movie industry.
Yeah.
And so they both they came into their own for sure.
Yeah, around the same time,
Kind of, yeah. I think, yeah.
Yeah, that's great. Well, so transitioning to, you've got 4 kids, right?
Uh-huh.
Is Riley the only one who's a skater who's in a video game?
Yeah. Well, all my kids skate. Riley is the only one that has made a career out of it. I mean, he's the oldest. 2 of my other kids were actually secret characters in some of the THPS games. In fact, one of them actually is skating with a pacifier in his mouth.
Nice.
I don't remember which game that was. It would have been, well, let's see. It was probably like THPS 4. That's about the age.
And Riley's 21?
He's 22.
22.
Uh-huh.
How old are all the kids?
My kids are 22, 16, 14. Those are my boys, and my daughter's 7.
Okay.
And then I have 2 stepsons that are 16 and 14.
Okay. Yeah, we were thinking about, so we did a shoot a couple of months ago with Sean Astin, where we went to LA Film School and New York Film Academy that both have game design schools, which is now, I mean, I've known about it for a long time, but a lot of people don't realize that's a career that a kid could choose to go to school for. Did you ever foresee that, like when you were a kid, that like someday this game that I'm playing could be a career for me or my kids?
No, like I said, my only goal for the game was to have something that skaters would enjoy, and I thought that maybe it would inspire some skaters to go buy a PlayStation.
Yeah.
I really didn't think it would resonate beyond the hardcore skate community because it just seemed like it was too embedded in our culture.
Too niche to skaters.
Yeah, I mean, because skateboarding was never that big, and before then, the music, the culture, the art, the fashion, it never really caught on in the mainstream. So,
but the game was, like you said.
But I think the game was one of the gateways to that.
Yeah, for sure. What are your thoughts on game design, game schools, game development being a viable career path for kids?
Well, of course, a viable career path. I mean, if you think about, like I said, the video game industry is bigger than the movie industry. There are 1,000 careers that you can have in the movie industry. Why not have more careers in the video game industry? I mean, I think it's fascinating, and also it speaks of our technology and our culture.
Yep.
If you're learning how to animate, or if you're learning how to do artwork or shade things like that,
coding, yeah.
Absolutely, that's a viable career, and one that can take you beyond just video games.
Yeah, that's great. So we talked about culture. Okay, so rewinding a little bit back to the original, and you may have covered this, but we'll just check this off here. Why do you think that not just skaters, but the Vox Populi embraced Tony Hawk Pro Skater so widely? Like, what made it so popular to the mainstream?
I think it's the replay factor, because even though there were these levels and there were specific challenges, there were so many different ways to accomplish those things, and there was this free skate option. So It was more like you could explore a level and do it in your own style, just like skating. I mean, I feel like skating as much as an art form as it is a sport, and you can do it in your own style and your own voice. The way you play our game is the same way. You can go and just have one specific challenge that you made for yourself, and not just one of the ones that they're trying to get you to unlock certain things. It's more like,
that was what when I first played the PlayStation 1 version, that's what I loved about it the most, was you could just drop in and play, and you could do the missions, or you could just screw around for 10 minutes.
And so that keeps you coming back, because it makes it interesting each time.
Yeah, that's interesting, because I think that's really what makes, that's a appeal to most games that are really popular, is the replay value. You can pick it up and play it.
I mean, to this day, people tell me they're busting out their Nintendo 64s and their PlayStation 1s to play our first two games.
That's awesome. How does that feel to be, and I don't think it's an overstatement to say that those games are part of the canon of video game history. How does that feel for you?
It's a huge honor. I mean, to be honest, I'm more proud that it put skateboarding on the map as a genre of video games, and eventually led to, obviously, other companies doing skate video games. But that's something that I'm probably most proud of in terms of how far we came, because before that, skateboarding in video games, it was 720, it was skate or die. That's about it.
Skate or die, yeah. That was
I bought a Commodore 64 for skate or die.
Yeah. TNC Surf Country.
TNC Surf, yeah, but that was like, skating was one tiny piece of it. I bought that one too.
Yeah.
But that was like roller skating and surfing and biking and everything else.
That's awesome. So speaking of game, this is sort of random, but would you see yourself being a part of or developing any other type of video game other than skating?
I don't. I never thought of skateboarding as my springboard to something else.
Yeah.
So it's video games the same way. I don't feel like I'm suddenly an expert on video games design because we had a successful series. So not really. I mean, I'm happy to stick with skateboarding, and because there is so much opportunity in skateboarding now, and there's so many auxiliary things that are coming with skateboarding.
Yeah.
That I'm busy enough.
So no first-person shooter skating games in your future?
I don't think so. Unless it's like an Oculus thing, and we can really like marry a couple of different
That would be
styles.
cool.
That would be
actually.
fun. Yeah.
If you could figure out how to make it immersive, that'd be super cool. Surprised y'all aren't already doing that with the Oculus thing.
Yeah, it's always a challenge, the first person stuff. We tried to make the skateboard you stand on, and that didn't go so well.
Yeah,
so.
it's like an equilibrium thing almost. Like you want to see your character.
Well, what I've learned is that people really don't want to get up and participate in the game. Mostly,
too much effort.
They really like to just sit there and emulate it.
Yeah,
from the couch.
I think that's why we kind of was really popular for a little while. But then like the nature of gaming is this.
Yeah, same with Kinect.
Yeah,
it definitely has its niche, but
yeah,
I don't think it's the next thing.
For sure. Okay, so moving on to, I guess the best way to phrase this would be the haters. So, and this goes back to kind of what we're talking about with, skating being kind of countercultural and gaming having that element as well. What would you say to kind of the haters, like people that say video games are a waste of time or lead to violence? Like,
oh, well, you can't, I mean, the argument that video games lead to violence, that's as ridiculous as violent movies being out there. And if people are violent by nature, it doesn't take that to trigger them. Sure. It's just they're like that, and maybe they'll take something from there, but that's not creating violent people.
Right.
And I think that people, that video games are all about the fantasy. Movies are all about the fantasy, and not exposing, but just participating in something that you wouldn't participate in real life.
Right. So you see it as a non-issue.
Yeah, it's just such a tired issue.
Yeah, tired.
I don't even think it's really an issue anymore.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. It seems that even though it's tired, it seems like every 3 or 4 or 5 years, it some politician or someone pointing at a video game.
Or they make some similarity to some tragedy that happens to a game. But I just that's ludicrous. That's just more political fodder.
Yeah. It's awesome that it is sort of a non-issue now, because 10 years ago it wasn't a non-issue in terms of people's perceptions, not in terms of reality. Yeah, that's cool. Okay, we covered that. Okay, so we did a shoot with Michael Rooker about a month ago on a motion capture, performance capture stage. Mm-hmm. Do you see a time when game characters will emote like actors in a film, to where you'd see and be a part of that, and you wouldn't realize that it was a game? It would look and feel and emote like a motion picture.
It feels like we're almost there. I mean, I don't think video game characters are going to become self-aware, but definitely the graphics and the feel of it is becoming much more real. So, yeah, I've seen animations recently with newer computers that you wouldn't know that it's not real.
Yeah.
The either human or just landscapes. It would fool anybody.
It's the thing that I guess you've heard of the uncanny valley. It's like this, here's reality and here's a video game, and as close as the technology can get, there's up to recently they call it the uncanny valley, where the human eye says, I can still tell that's not real even though it looks really cool.
Yeah.
Do you think we'll ever get past that, I guess
I think we're getting very close.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's almost like the violence question. It's like that. It's a non-issue now, but it used to not be. And this is, people used to say we'd never get past the uncanny valley, but
right.
I think we will. Yeah.
Well, just by comparison, I remember when pole position came out, people were like, "That looks just like driving."
Yeah. Or all those Atari games where the cover looked like something completely amazing that you wanted to be a part of, and it ended up being
Yeah, well, those rendered frames are always deceiving.
Yeah.
Even today.
Yeah. Custom illustrations. Final question, and then we'll do the walkthrough. We did a shoot a month or so ago with Zelda Williams, Robin Williams' daughter, at Children's Hospital LA. So games are being used in hospitals now as tools for rehabilitation and pain management. Do you think if more people were aware of this, it would change the perceptions of gaming in the game industry?
Yeah, I think so. I guess I don't really, I'm not. when you are mentioning that subject about the negative connotations of video games, I don't really live in that world because I don't make a first-person shooter, so I don't really know all the hate coming at you for it. But I think absolutely, there's I know the rehabilitation factor of video games because when I broke my pelvis, all I did was sit in bed and play Gun at the time when Neversoft made Gun for about 5 weeks. And that time flew by.
It's the time dilation thing when
it
you're playing a
totally
game.
flew by, and by the time I finished every single challenge and everything you can do in the game, I could walk again.
That's amazing.
So it's more just the rehabilitation, sure, but just the idea that time passes more quickly when you're playing games.
Yeah, that we saw and met several kids that were in the bone marrow transplant ward where they literally can't come out of that room for like 6 months because of their immune systems, and they've got DSs and Xboxes in there, and I mean, as a kid, could you imagine sitting in that room for, so that's you experienced that as an adult. Yeah,
absolutely. No, I mean, but I know that too. Just passing time on planes and stuff too. As simple as that. It's amazing that we live in this era of technology.
That's
and awesome. We literally have it at our fingertips.
Yeah, for sure.
This is the centerpiece, obviously. This is where I spend most of my time while I'm here at the office.
Okay.
And then we have sort of a mini skate park area.
In here?
Yeah, that is more in tune with, the street.
Oh yeah, this is
street generation.
Is this a quarter pipe or not officially a quarter?
Yeah, well, this is like a whole sort of fun box area. So there's stairs, there's ledges, rails, there's a wall ride. And, this is more street-oriented skating, and it's really just for more like when our team riders come here and when our kids come here, they have something to skate that's not the massive half pipe.
Right, something that won't kill them. That's good. I noticed the stickers. Is that what I think it is?
That's me.
Are you the top one?
I am, yeah. I actually used that ramp right there to get speed, to get up there, and then.
Wow. So is this facility? Was any of this used in like motion capture or performance capture for a pro skater, or was that all done in the engine?
Well, we actually some of this we didn't ever do mocap here. That's usually more in a controlled environment. So we've done it at different, like we did it at a skate park once. We did it actually set up the ramp and did it there. But the really like technically harder tricks we animate from video.
Okay.
Because they're so difficult. Like some of the tricks are so difficult. You're only going to do it once or twice in your life. Even you're not going to do it with that suit on,
with all the dots,
with all the pressure of having to do it that day. You know what I mean? That's just not going to happen in that environment. So a lot of times we'll shoot video here of a specific trick, and sometimes just as a reference. Like I've had Robomoto has come here, and I'll try to explain a trick to them. Like, I don't understand. I just come down here and do it. Right. And they shoot it on video, and they're like, "Oh, now I understand how that motion should be." Yes.
Okay. Have you done motion capture yourself, where you're all?
I've done it. Yeah, I've done it a few times.
How does that feel? Like, what's that?
It feels very vulnerable.
You're like
a skin-tight suit with all these balls attached to you, and when you fall, it hurts.
Being recorded the whole time.
Being recorded, yeah. In fact, I think it's funny because the first time we did it for THPS. The first time we did it, I don't think they used a lot of the data that they got, except for the falls. Because I took a couple of pretty heavy slams that day, and it's just the animation of me slamming was more what they wanted.
I remember the first time I played Pro Skater, that was one of the things that stuck out. I was like, whoa, that wipeout looks super realistic.
Yeah, that was probably me falling.
I couldn't help but notice this as I walked past. This looks pretty gnarly.
Yeah, well, this is one of many walls of skateboards. I've managed to keep most of the boards that have been produced with my name on it, but a few I've had to chase down and actually buy off of eBay.
All different designers, I'm assuming?
Or? Yeah, and different sponsors and things. The graphics are all a lot of different artists.
Yeah.
But obviously there's a heavy Hawk theme going on.
I noticed the Tom Green one. That's the one that stuck out the most.
Oh, yeah. Well, Tom Green, we kind of made him an honorary pro at Birdhouse
cool.
a while back, and he actually came on tour with us. For a few weeks. Yeah, it was really fun.
Wow.
Yeah. They freak out when they see him get out of the car.
And I bet, yeah.
He would do his own sort of strange moves and things, but yeah, so I mean, there's, like I said, this is one of about 3 walls in here with just skateboards.
So there's really, the theme is like, I'm not seeing any room anywhere in Tony Hawk Incorporated that doesn't have skateboards as some version of the wallpaper.
Yeah, but they all represent different events and different
Okay.
things that this building has created. Not just me personally, but
Okay.
everyone here. I mean, this is very much a group effort here, and
Yeah.
any event that we do or any project we do, it takes the people in this building to make it happen.
That's really cool because it shows the community aspect of, like when we go to different game development studios, it's kind of similar. There's not skateboards representing different events and different things that have happened, but there's their games, there's sculptures of their characters that they've created.
Yeah, that kind
as
of
a group.
stuff. Yeah. Well, like for instance, this right here is from one of our charity events called Stand Up for Skate Parks, and it's our main fundraising event for Tony Hawk Foundation, which supports public skate parks in low-income areas.
Cool.
And so we do a limited edition skateboard each year for VIPs and that show up at the event. We've been doing it for the last 10 years now, and we have awesome bands: Black Keys, Jane's Addiction, Modest Mouse, and so.
Does this then go in auction and the money goes towards?
The actual event raises funds, but so this is a skateboard from the event signed by all the pro skaters that were there.
Oh wow!
So this is just
awesome.
an example of something that would be on the wall because it's representative of that mission and that event, and it's pretty special.
That's cool. And I'm sure every board that you look at, this one included, you have the memories of whatever that
absolutely.
milestone
Each one,
was.
definitely.
Yeah.
Different stories or inspirations for what they were, but the ones that are to me the most entertaining are the ones that I've had to actually go and like chase down and buy on eBay.
Yeah, like one
or
guy
make an offer to someone that I know has one of the only ones in existence.
Have you ever gotten anybody that's like?
There was one that was very difficult to get.
Really?
Yeah, this guy in Australia had it, and I had to keep offering him more things until he finally agreed to it.
Wow.
So it was money plus like my personal board plus a couple other signed things.
Just Tony Hawk calling him wasn't enough. He needed a little more. Stats.
Actually, I got lucky in that when we went on tour in Australia one time, we just happened to go through his hometown. It was a pretty small town, and he was there with the board, and so I got to speak to him personally about it.
Oh, cool! Very cool.
Yeah.
Well, this has been cool, man. I mean, I definitely have a better understanding of. I mean, we came in here to talk to you about Pro Skater because it's been such a big part of gaming history, and now with the new one coming out. But
I mean, honestly, this building wouldn't exist without the success of that video game.
Is that right?
Yeah, for sure.
So, gaming, because you mentioned earlier, like never had interest in making a video game. You're a skater. You're about that culture. The game was an outgrowth of that. But it's interesting that outgrowth then empowered you to do what you love even more.
Oh, absolutely! It really gave me an opportunity to pursue different opportunities, to pursue different ways of skating, different ways of promoting it, instead of just competing all the time.
Yeah.
And it allowed me to have this recognition factor that I never imagined was possible.
Wow. And that's what would you say that? I mean, to me as a gamer and someone that was a skater as a kid, I know Tony Hawk. I know Tony Hawk Pro Skater, but to what level do you think the game raised your profile? Not just money, but your profile and the community of skating. Do you think it was kind of 50% or
exponentially? I don't think I could ever measure it.
Yeah.
I mean, before the video game, the people that knew me were usually skaters themselves. I didn't resonate beyond this industry. I mean, there was a little bit of success with the X Games right around then.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
But I feel like once the game took off, it took on a whole new life. It really did take on a persona of its own. Like there were times when I'd go places and kids thought that I was just the name of a video game, or that I was named after the video game.
Oh wow, that's like life imitating art or something like that.
Yeah, it got weird for a while.
Well, it's cool that what I think it's cool is that. So there's a lot of game developers, not naming names, that have, they make a game and they sell it and they make gazillions of dollars and then they don't do anything else. But these games and the resources that they've brought, you've taken that and just created more things and fueled your passion even more through those resources, which is awesome. It's not the case.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. I mean, with skateboard, a video game was something that was definitely an exciting opportunity to me, but it was never going to be the end all to my career path because I was always about the skating first and foremost, and I still am. Video games has been this amazing success it allows me to do other things, but all along continuing to skate.
That's awesome, man. Well, Tony, thanks so much
Yeah.
for your time.
Cool.
Really
All right.
appreciate it. Can't wait to get my hands on the new game. Hopefully it won't abuse Riley quite as much once I
Yeah,
learn
choose a
it.
different character for the
Yeah,
first time you play.
Wake up at dawn and didn't get much sleep, so course I'm yawning. As the late hit dormant, whole world on pause for this moment. I look outside and watch the sunrise, kiss the world good morning, and just enjoy the calm that holds me right before the storming. This world's our playground, so let's go out and soak it up. No matter how old we get, we sing it, we sing it. La la la.